Hakani kajuk bamenta bo na ki khana kila sange no ya ka jing Pule tang na kadau badang duna palat ki university badon ya ka mcom henrei de na ka jing yo ijngai jong kinong penya jong ka Shillong Commerce College haka khat khandai tarik nailar ar hajar ar kusan haka sien baningkong layo ban Plie bat penrong ya ka program mcom ya kani lawan ban Plie do professor Sumar bin Umdor pro vice chancellor Northeastern Hill University ubalong ukong san hakte ka sngi haka jingadan rengkat lang u professor Henry Lamin president governing body Shillong Commerce College kiwe pat ki balaya dan lang ki kentup ya ka kong JC Bla principal Shillong Commerce College but ka Dr S Khongwir vice principal Shillong Commerce College haka jingadan rengkat lang ki nong hikai ki khana kelas jong ka Shillong Commerce College but ki khana thamai ki ban salit mcom hakate ka college kum kadak kajing sedang ya kan ka program ladon shwa kajing thang ye umombati bat board sa kajing kran lingkot na u BR upadhyaya head commerce department Shillong Commerce College bat board sa kajing ruai na ki khana Pule layo ru e kajing kran na u professor Henry Lamin bat ka kong JC Bla bat ki wei de na kalyang ukong san habakran hakate kasngi ulayaro e ka Shillong Commerce College bakala shim e ka same jam ka bakong san hakum kani ka juk bamanta bat uloong ru bakani ka kos kanyarap shibon na kabanta ki khana Pule ki badang Kwah ban Leit mcom.
I thank God for this opportunity to be here in this institution. It is very privileged to be associated with the starting of the first batch of NEHU. So, as the co-vice chancellor of the university, for me it's a very happy occasion when I see our colleges growing in development. You know, under NEHU, by 2035, all the HEI, higher education institutions, have to be in their own autonomous, in the sense that there have to be PG, UG institutions and as well as research institutions. So this is a step towards achieving the NEHU, vision that our leader had for us under the new education policy. So it is, I'd like to thank the principal, Madam JC Bla, for inviting me. Initially, I thought that I would not be free, but there was a change in significance today, so I called her up and said that, I will be coming because for me, as I said, I've been closely associated with the affiliation process of this college, so I wanted to be here. I also thank my colleague, Dr. Khubor. I've known him for a very long time, a very hard-working teacher. We have a few like him, we can change education scenario in the state. So I ask all of you to kindly emulate him, look up to him, and I ask you, sir, to continue to provide the leadership, because I know him, as we've been closely associated for some time now as a controller of examination. I really appreciate we get good teachers for our education sector to develop in our state. And so it's a role model. He's a role model not only for you, for me also. So I'm glad that he's here. Dr. Khubor, who's also chairing the stage, he's vice president, I've known her, vice principal, I've known her for some time. We did orientation course together, me, my wife, and Madam, I think somewhere in 2006. So it's nice to again be here. And of course, Dr. Henry Lamin, who was the co-vice chancellor of Northeastern Hill University. He's like an elder brother to me, and also I've learned a lot about him in different capacity in the university. Shillong College has accomplished many milestones in its many years of existence, shaping the lives of the young citizens of Meghalaya and those from neighboring states. The college has evolved over the years, expanding its academic courses and programs. Before it was more only for commerce. Now we have the arts as well, and science also we must be having, because that is the goal now, so that each of you will have multidisciplinary courses in your, so that commerce students, if you want to take minor, physics, you might, one fine day, that is the dream, that you can also take physics as a minor. So essentially, that is the system that is prevailing all over the world, that you give the choices to a student. If you want to take physics and music, that should be the goal one fine day. Of course, it's a long-term goal, but gradually we are moving towards that. And today, if you are a commerce student, since you have BA, you can take economics as a minor. You know, you can take English communication or something as a minor. That will help you. So this is what Commerce College is doing, and I encourage you to keep on expanding. You know, because there's so much that we need to do. So today the college has started post-graduation programs, which is really a positive endeavor, revealing the intellectual vitality of the institution. If as an institution you are stuck in the same program, same mode, it means something is wrong with you. So when you are developing, growth means there is vitality, there is energy in you, and that is why it is very important for us not to be comfortable in the status quo, but always to try to evolve to something, keep on challenging ourselves in our personal life as well as the life of the institution. So this is indeed an occasion which all of you should be proud of. So I congratulate the principal, the governing body members, that is also here, and then the faculty, the non-teaching staff, the teachers, and all the well-wishers of this college, supporters of this college. Congratulations to you, and this is indeed a happy occasion for me to be here. Now, since independence, the higher education institutions like the IITs, the IEMs, the AIMS, the universities and colleges, they have played a very vital role in the transformation and the development of our country. We are what we are today is because of the HEIs, the IITs and the IEMs and the universities that have produced intellects, that have produced educators, that have produced doctors, that have produced engineers, that have produced, people who have made a change, who have contributed to the transformation of India. And our higher institutions have not only changed the country, they have changed the destiny of countries all over the world. If you look at America today, and you look at all the Western nations, you'll find the top companies out there are run by Indians, most of them, isn't it? And those Indians are the product of our HEIs. So our HEIs have played a very important role. We are what we are as a country today. When we got our independence, people thought that it will be a failed state. In the 70s, there was this prediction that India will soon, there will be, mass starvation and death, will not be able to produce enough food grains. All these worst scenario prediction was being made of India. But look at us today, isn't it? Not only we are self-sufficient in food grain, we can serve, we can help countries in Africa and other things. We are known as the pharmaceutical, company of the world. Without us, Africa, the AIDS epidemic would have swept over Africa. But it is because of the cheap drugs that we produce in this country that has enabled the world to combat, pandemic like AIDS and even the COVID, pandemic that we face. It is country like India that's produced those vaccinations at a very cheap rate that has helped the world. And today we are the fourth largest economy of the world. All this, a lot of this credit goes to our HEIs. And in the future also the government is looking, the society is looking at HEIs to make that transformation, to take us to that developed state that we envisage as a country to achieve by the time we turn 100 years, that is in 2047. So the institution like Commerce College here and the other colleges here in Meghalaya, we have a very important role. Even in our own state, we have this target set by our Chief Minister that we want to be a $10 billion economy by 2028. Now that won't happen unless we have the manpower, we create the entrepreneurs, we create the work creators, we have the skilled manpowers in our state. And who will produce those? It is institutions like Shillong, Commerce College, other colleges or Leit NEHU that has this very important role. Now if you look at the higher education sector in the state, our gross enrollment ratio is around 25-26% in the higher education sector. And the target of the government is that by 2035, in 10 years, our gross enrollment ratio in higher education should touch 50%, should double of what we have in 2050. So, it means that we have to more than double the capacity of our total enrollment in higher education. So, I've been telling the principals of colleges whenever they meet me, please plan for the future. Don't just look at the present enrollment. Some of the college principals met me and they were very, a bit discouraged by the lack of enrollment in their colleges. But I'm saying, why are you so worried? Just look at the class 10 result. In this year, class 10 result, 56,000 students have passed. Now, at present, our enrollment in the colleges is around 20,000, 22,000 in our affiliated colleges. We have doubled the number of that students that are past class 10. In another 1 year, once they finish class 11 and 12, they will be knocking at your door. Even if 40,000 students comes to our colleges, you will not have the capacity to enroll all those students. So I said, don't worry about this current phase. Plan for the future. In fact, when I met the Commissioner Secretary of Education the other day, he was telling me the same thing. That Professor, we need to plan for the future. We don't want to be in that scenario of class 11 when there are not enough seats for the class 10 students. So please don't be discouraged with your enrollment ratio. You will get more than enough enrollment by, if you look at the present trend. And especially when you look at the target, when we are trying to have 50%, students, our youth between the age of 18 and 23. That is the enrollment ratio, how we calculate. We want 50% of them to be in higher education. That is graduate and postgraduate. So there's so much work to do, and I encourage you as a college to keep on working towards that goal. Now, while the number of students admitted to the college has increased and will increase over the years, as I've said, the challenge that we have here today as administrators, as teachers, as leaders in higher education, is that the degree that our student earns, should enable the student to be gainfully employed, so that they can flourish, as productive members of the society. And that is a challenge that all of us have, because after all, now it is universally accepted that employability is the core of education. But before we talk about employability, which is very much important, let us look at, what our leaders have thought about education. And let me quote, Swami Vivekananda, great reformer, educator, What did he say about education? We want that education by which character is formed, strength of mind is increased, the intellect is expanded, and by which one can stand on one's own feet. Now that last part, let us come a bit afterwards. But let us look at the other things that we have to impart on our students. We want our students that the strength of mind is increased, their intellect is expanded. We don't just want our graduates to have the skills, which the market requires. Of course, that is very important. But we want to produce thinkers. In our society, especially when you look at the newspaper, when you see the debate in the assembly, you understand when you listen to the debate in society, when you look at the news, the way people talk, sometimes I feel that I have failed as a teacher. What type of students am I, graduate am I producing as a teacher? Because, apart from the syllabus that we cover, do we talk of other things with our students? Do we expand their thinking? Are we becoming narrow, racist in our outlook? Like thinking that living in a small pond, like a frog in a small pond? That is what we as teachers have to impart on the student. Syllabus is okay. It's not about, producing just graduate and, who know some skills, who know some accounting, so on and so forth. But we need people who can think more than their community, think about the country, think about the welfare of the neighbor, think about people from other, places. Because we are, after all, in this country, we are not the only community. There are people all over the world. If you look at all of the country, if you look at a state like Meghalaya, you will know that we produce only, if the state government expenditure, only 20% of that comes from our own revenue. The rest of it comes from grants from the centers. If you look at Haryana, the contribution of the own revenue of Haryana will be somewhere 60 to 50%. The rest comes from the center. We are totally dependent on the income tax and the other, contribution made by people from around the country. But sometimes when you hear the discourse of our students that we have produced going to graduate, people don't seem to understand the reality. So therefore what I feel is that, and I'm saying this because maybe of my background in the subject, I felt that sometimes our students are not able to understand the reality of it. So we're becoming very narrow by it. Instead of education expanding our mind, being able to be more accommodative, it seems that we are not, as we are producing society that is becoming very narrow in our thinking. And I'm not able to think beyond a particular community, beyond a particular state. I think that is also very important as teachers, isn't it? That we should produce people, thinkers out here. We should produce students who are able to not only, I always encourage in my classroom whenever I have a first class, I say, please don't say Naga, Mizo, Khasi. What is happening with you? You are coming to a university, a universe. That is the idea, that is the meaning of university, a universe, where all of you, you should learn each other's culture, each other's food habit, try to understand the state, the other state, what is their food habit, take them home. Welcome people, if you have a student from another state joining here, please take them to their house, let them know about your community. That is how we will grow as a country. So that is why, Swami Vivekananda said these beautiful words, that we have to form the character of our children. That is the purpose of it. And I encourage my teachers, I encourage the college, that when you introduce program, please look at this also. How do we build the character of our young people? How do we build their intellect? How do we imbibe on them the education? When I hear for 2 or 3 years that they walk of these institutions as knowledgeable people, with an expanded horizon, where the thinking, it's not narrow, but it's quite broad, where they are, where they contribute positively to the society. But then the other thing that Swami Vivekananda said is also very, very much important, especially in today's context, that we need to produce our students, who can stand on their own feet. And that is very, very important. And when we talk of standing on our own feet, what do we mean? If you look at several reports that I can quote for you, there's this India Skill Report. What does it say? The India Skill Report later says that around 45%, 46% of the graduates have the required skills to be employed. So less than half of the graduates that we produce are employable. That is the stark reality that is facing us. They have a degree, but they cannot be employed. In fact, if you look at the CMIE data, Center for Monitoring of the Indian Economy 2022 data, it says what? That the unemployment rate is the highest among graduates and those with higher degree. Which means that the higher you go in your ladder of education, the higher degree you get, the more likely is the chance of being unemployed. And so this is a scenario that we have, that as an institution, as educators, we have to understand. And therefore, that today, in today's world, it is very important that whatever we teach them, the curriculum that we develop for them, it has to have what we call the 21st century skills. We need to imbibe in our students the 21st century skills. Skills that are needed in today's world. Skills that are needed in today's what we call knowledge economy. We have moved from the industrialized economy to a knowledge economy. In the industrialized economy, things were very repetitive. So you can teach students, you teach in the classroom to do something that is repetitive. But today in the knowledge economy, in the digital economy, things are moving so fast that there's an agreement, general agreement, that our curriculum, the way we teach our students, should have certain 4 core, attributes. And what are they? That we have to teach them to be creative. We have to make them creative so that they can flourish in this world. That creativity will help you to become, entrepreneurs. Right? We need for them to be critical thinkers. How to solve problem solvers. That is why we need to give them skills towards that. We need them to be effective communicators. They need to work as a team. You want to sell a product, we need to discuss with people, with your customers. How do we do that? And we need them to be collaborators. Because that is what this world is all about. So these are the skills and attributes that we need to have to impart on our students. And therefore, this is very critical for you, because don't be limited with only the curriculum that has been set with NEHU. That is set by NEHU, that is what you have to teach. But there's so much that you can do besides that. And I want to talk to the students. Today, there's a flat world. There's a book written by Thomas Friedman, The World is Flat. You should all read that. When I was growing up, we always had this excuse that I'm from the Northeast, I don't have access to materials and things that are there, maybe from someone from Delhi, so that is why I am what I am, because of the limitation. But today that limitation is no longer there. Do you know that you can pass your MCOM from this institution in 2 years time, but at the same time, you can add a degree, what we call a nano degree, alright, from the best institute of the world. Say Berkeley, London School of Economics, any best institute of the world. Just go to Coursera. You have Mazafar of Coursera. Go to Coursera at 3,000 rupees of investment. In in 6 months time, you can have a certificate from Coursera on business administration, on organizational behavior, or whatever you want to know. That is possible now. I myself have done courses on Coursera, so that's what I'm saying. I like, there are certain subjects that I'm very keen to follow. So even today, I joined courses on Coursera and I completed. And if you join a course on Coursera, what do you need? You need at most 3,000 to enroll, 3,000 rupees. You need an internet connection. And the most important thing is you need to give time. And by the end of 3 to 4 months, what will happen? If you pass the exams given by them, all this is online, you get a signed certificate from a professor from London School of Economics or any of the institutions that you enrolled in, saying that you have completed this course. Just imagine if you keep yourself a target that during my 2 years of MCOM, I'll complete 4 Coursera courses or 2 Coursera courses. And after that MCOM degree, you work with an MCOM degree from NEHU, but you have 2 other micro degrees, issued by this institution. You work for a job interview. Who do you think will get a job? Someone who has a NEHU degree only, or a degree from USDM, or even from any other institute? Or the person who works with a degree from NEHU and 2-3 micro degrees from the best institutes. So this is, the world that we're living in. Where the opportunities are available for you. It is only you that, you have, and I encourage the college that please create those opportunities, the awareness and the opportunities for your students. Besides the credit that you'll earn from NEHU through the curriculum, you can also plan for non-credit courses that they can earn. You can collaborate with NISM, National Institute for Security Markets. They have several courses. You can create wealth managers from here. A lot of people are very, they have a lot of money from Janka Hills and all that, but they don't know where to invest, and for that they need wealth, advisors. So you can do a course on wealth advisors after your MCOM, along with your MCOM, and become very good wealth advisors, and you will have enough business here to start your own firm. So this is the possibility that you have. So I encourage, and that is how you will stand out. That is how as an institute you will stand out. If you just produce, undertake or service the curriculum given by NEHU, you will not stand out, unfortunately. You will stand out if you go beyond what is being done by NEHU. And that is what, is the message that I want to give both to the students. There are great opportunities that is available. And of course, to the college, please do more than what we have already given to you. Well, to the students, let me also say that, I often say this to the students. I envy you and I pity you. I envy you because you live in a world that I could never dream of when I was growing. You can be whoever you want, right? You have a very good idea today, right? And you can be a billionaire. Before it used to take 3-4 generations for people to accommodate brick and mortar industries that we have. But nowadays, if you have a good idea which can be commercialized, you can change your destiny in your one generation alone, right? So this is what I say, that I envy you because you are in a world, in a digital world, where you know everything happening around the world, where you can take advantage of, where you can sell your product at Amazon. You write a good book, you put it in Amazon, it becomes a bestseller, right? And people are doing that. But I also pity you because you face so much of challenges. And the biggest challenges that you face is that the same technology that is available with you, that can allow you to do moves, that can allow you to take advantage of the opportunities that are there, that same technology is also disturbing your life. It's also taking away your time. Well, I have students, when I look at their face, it is all red, their eyes all red, because they are updating their status at 12:30 to 1 o'clock at night, which means that you are not sleeping properly. So this is a double-edged sword. The double-edged sword that we talk about is this, right? It can help you, it can mar your future. It can help your future, it can mar. It depends on you how you use this technology. So I encourage you to use the technology to advance your life. Remember, it is said that education is a great leveler. You can be from a poor family, a challenging family. Maybe your neighbors, your relatives are looking down at you and your family. But you pass one examination. You do well, in life, you become a very successful entrepreneur. You can change your destiny and the destiny of your children. Right? One of the things that the opportunity that I get to do nowadays is to talk to the young IAS and